Welcome back to Salt Plus Honey. I am your host, Ninky Punch, and this is where we hold space for softness, stories, inspiration, and of course, this thing that made us sweet. Before I dive into today's episode, I just want to acknowledge what has been transpiring in Grenada for a couple of weeks now. Grenada is very heavy at this time, and I know that we're all feeling it. My heart goes out to the families of the young women that have recently passed away. So Trishana from Tivoli, who was actually found on the 17th, which was yesterday, from Tivoli in St. Andrews, and she was murdered. And then I want to also highlight Alandria Let. Today I decided to come and film this episode, which is much needed on my part. But more than anything, I want to use my platform to show people that they need to take a stand right now. This is a time of great change, and a lot of truths are coming to the surface. And if we don't stand our ground and unite and, bring awareness to what is going on, and not just, you know, have all this energy and all this rage and then next week we forget about it. So my mission today is to also share my story and, you know, be that bridge, I would say, between women who have been assaulted and, women who have healed from it. Because you can heal from this. I just want you to know you can heal from this. Sexual assault isn't something that you have to live with your whole life. It's something that does take time to heal. I ain't gonna lie. It takes a lot of dedication and love for oneself to heal, but it can be done. So in this episode, this is a very raw, vulnerable, intimate episode, and this is my truth. So yeah, I'm gonna tell my story. These two young women that were recently murdered, assaulted then murdered, are once again just added to another long list of other women in Grenada that have been assaulted and murdered. And it's sad to say that this list is constantly growing. For my audience, for people who have been following my journey, moving to London, to Grenada, you guys know that I'm constantly advocating for Grenada and, just how beautiful this island is. It's so peaceful. The people are friendly to an extent, and that Grenada is home for me. This is where my soul feels safe, and I've created guides, for moving to Grenada. And, whenever people ask me about Grenada, I always have good things to say about Grenada. But I'm not going to be sugarcoating the truth that Grenada holds, which is it's not pure and it's not just all paradise. Grenada has a very dark side to it, which oftentimes gets pushed under the rug. And moving forward, I'm not going to be advocating as strongly as I was for Grenada, especially not just only speaking about the good sides of Grenada. There has to be balance. And in this episode, I will be speaking brutally honest about Grenada on a whole, So I just wanted to just add that disclaimer before I dive into, my story. So there you go. My sexual assault happened in 2021. So June 27th, 2021. And I could remember this night as clear as day. But before I get into that, I want to give you guys a backstory of how it even happened, so you guys will understand what led up to that night. So I was actually dating a guy called Kyle Stefan. He's Grenadian, and I met him through my sister's partner at the time, and they were friends. So I actually met him online. We exchanged, my sister gave me his number, and we started to speak online. And this was when I was living in London at the time. So I think we met around, I think I met him actually in school. I was speaking to him like in school. So maybe like 2016. From then, I would say. So, we started speaking to one another, and in 2019, he came up to London for the first time. And like I was super excited because me and this guy has been like talking every day, sending voice notes, FaceTiming, and just deepening our connections. So when he finally came up to London, it didn't go to plan. It didn't go as I had imagined it in my head. As us women, we like to romanticize and dream and all these things in our head when you know in reality that's very far-fetched. Anyways, so he came up there, and you know we wasn't aligning, we wasn't syncing up as I thought that we were, because over text and in person is two different things. You can make someone feel certain things through text. Anyways, so we ended up breaking up in 2019, and then 2020 is when I decided to move to Grenada. So throughout 2019, me and my sister were planning to move down to Grenada, and bearing in mind we weren't together. So 2020, I finally moved down to Grenada now, and of course, him being my ex, and the new British girl, or your ex is now in Grenada, she looking good, everybody want her attention, all these things. And of course, a man's ego is very fragile. So in his head, he's probably thinking, well, I had she already, so I can get she back. So he tried to reach out to me again, and I once I'm done with you, I'm done with you. All my exes know this. I don't leave room for anybody to enter into my life, because if you fucked up once, why am I going to let you back in to fuck up again? So that's just my boundaries. So I obviously you know, cut things off once again. And I was like, listen, like, we've been done since 2019. We don't need to, reconnect again. Then now, skip forward to 2021. And I went to a party with my sister at Lavo Lanes. And like, I remember this night just clear as day. I can't remember whose party it was, but everybody was wearing white, and champagne was free. So everybody was just like drinking champagne, drinking champagne. And I'm not really a drinker. I would rather smoke than drink, because pick your poison, innit? So I was drinking excessively, drinking champagne, and I even broke a glass and cut my foot that night. That's how like drunk I was. But I didn't realize how drunk I was until I was leaving Lavo Lanes, and my sister was also drunk at that time as well. So there wasn't really that protection there. There wasn't really someone that could guide me and make sure that, okay, cool, like my younger sister isn't in her right mind, and she's drunk. My younger sister's drunk, and me being the older sister, I also need to be mindful, and at least keep an eye out, be aware. but that wasn't the case. So she went with friends, but the reason why she also went with friends is because Kyle actually was at the event and he offered to take me home. And obviously both of us were like, okay, cool, like, you know, this was my ex, and you know, we're not really thinking anything bad is gonna happen because this person once loved me. And I went with him, and even though I was drunk out of my mind, when we were driving home, when I was supposed to, like, the way we were supposed to go home wasn't the way we were going. And I lived in Belmont at that time, so the right way for him to head back to Belmont was, you know, going that way. But anyway, so he ended up going somewhere, and obviously it was at night time as well, so I wasn't really sure about where exactly we were going. But I do remember we went up like a road, and we were driving, and then we went up a road, but it was a dead end, but it was like up a hill. So like if you went up there and you turned off your lights, nobody would know that you were there because it's so dark, it's night, it's up a hill, dead end. So it's like he planned it out. He already knew what he was going to do. And I remember him starting to kiss me, and um, I was drunk. I was very drunk. At one point, I even fell out of the car, like this, like the car door. This was at the back, and I was like this, and he picked me up. Like, this is literally how I was, and I was like laughing, and it's like, you know, but in my soul, I knew that I was being defiled. So after he did what he did, he took me home, and that was it. Something taken, just like that. The next day now, I was recovering from my hangover, and then I got a message from him saying, oh, you left your underwear in my car. And I felt a sense of anger consume me. And I said to him, I don't want it back. And I can't remember if I blocked him straight away. I think I did. But in that moment, it was just like the fucking cheek. The cheek for you to have done what you did last night and then to come back the next morning and say you forgot your underwear. I remember the time that I actually saw him, and this was in 2023, I believe, Carnival 2023 on the Carenage. No, 2024 on the Carenage. So a good like 2 years since, you know, the assault had happened, and I was, you know, in my skimpy what's it called, Tuesday wear, pretty mass wear, and I was chipping down the road and, you know, proper feeling myself, and me and his eyes connected, made four, and I instantly, and yeah, I instantly put my head down, and then like put my head down, put my eyes down, because the breeze. Yeah, I instantly put my eye down and put my head down because like a sense of shame washed over me. And I'm like looking back now, I should have been, let me not start with shoulda, coulda, because it's in the past. But I wish I had the courage to look him in the eye and be like, rapist. I wish. But I didn't have the courage. I didn't have the courage that time. So, you know, after I looked down and and when I passed him, you know, I took up my phone and, you know, pretended to just like still have fun, because I could see, I could feel that he was still observing me. But the power had already kind of left me from since I looked down, from since I didn't make direct eye contact with him and stare him in the fucking eyes and be like, listen, I know what you did to me, or even say it. I looked down. So in that moment, the power was already given to him. So, that day I was just like, and I was having a great time before I saw him, like, and then as soon as I saw him, I was just like, oh, it was like I was just transported back to that time. So that is my story. Well, a bit of it. The next things that I will be speaking about is how I processed, how I processed this in like the early stages, and this I only recently healed from this. It took me 4 years, from 2021, 22, 23, 24, 25. Last year, I really came to the conclusion that I'm done with this. And I also wrote it in my article, my dating article, in one of my dating articles. And I thought that that was like the last final like thing that I needed to do to shed, to clear this. But speaking and talking out loud is like the ultimate rebellion. It's a sign of strength. It's a sign that you're releasing and you're letting go, and you're just putting it out there for the universe, everyone to hear. So this is my final shedding. This is the reason why I have decided to come today and film this video, because it's just aligned right now, especially with what's going on in Grenada. So the process that I went through, this 4-year process, was not easy. It was a very, very dark road. And at first, I didn't even believe, I didn't want to believe that I was raped. I didn't want to believe it, because I would then know that this man that I once trusted took something from me. So for a while, I was in denial. For a while, I was in denial, and I still kept entertaining men. And, I felt like there was a hole in me. And actually, it's crazy, because I went numb that night. I went like, I disconnected from my emotions. And it was very scary, because I kept saying to myself, like, oh, how comes I'm not feeling? How comes I'm not feeling, the feeling of excitement? How comes I'm not feeling the feeling of happiness? Like, why am I feeling so dull and so cold? And it's because that night I switched. The next day, well, that night, I don't know when it really clicked, but my emotions was just off. I could not feel, and it was scary. Anyways, so because I couldn't feel, I ended up, going in different relationships that were completely below me. And, you know, I felt, wow, it's really windy. Yeah, I felt like I wanted to feel something. I wanted to connect back to myself. I wanted to experience love through the form of intimacy. And that made me kind of, dabble in certain relationships. And when I realized that that wasn't the answer, that, okay, Ninki, you can't further keep opening up your vessel to men that don't deserve you. And when I realized that, that's when I started cutting off people, and, started coming back into myself. And then I started to go into spirituality. And spirituality, I don't want to make it sound like it's a religion. Spirituality isn't a religion. Spirituality is coming back to your soul, and coming back into your intuition, and tapping back into you. Yeah. When I started to come back into myself, another process, because I went through many processes. Another process that I started to do was completely grow out my hair, my girl's hair. And I did this because I didn't want to look at her. I was disgusted with myself. I stopped touching myself for a very long time. Um, and yeah, I just kind of shunned my girl away, and kind of like I was angry at her as well, because I was angry at her, I was angry at myself, because I'm just like, raw, like being a beautiful woman, like this is what comes with it. Like why does it have to be this way? Why do I have to be beautiful? Why do I have to be so alluring to men for them to do something like this to me? And I just I was just disgusted, to be honest. Just and I just grew out my bush and just let it grow. I think for like a good year, and then I started to consciously say to myself that, okay, cool, like how are we going to move past this? And it started with me telling my sister. So I actually like finally told my sister about it, and told her why, like, I guess like me and her kind of like split, and I wasn't really as fond of her as I used to be. And I obviously told her that, and she was like, she never knew, and we were both crying over the phone, and she was just like, she's sorry. So that was like my real first initial step into healing. I also told my mom as well. I can't remember when I told my mom. I think I told my mom in Belmont as well. And then the next thing was moving from Belmont. So when I finally moved from Belmont, it was like a relief. It was finally like, okay, cool, like I'm leaving that darkness behind, but not really leaving it behind, because it's still within me, it's still a part of me. So you know it wasn't something that I was leaving behind. But anyways, I still looked at it that way. I was like, okay, cool, like I'm leaving Belmont, I'm leaving the scene of the crime, and I'm going somewhere where I'm safe. I'm going somewhere where this man, Kyle, isn't going to find me. He's not going to know where I am. So after I moved houses now, I really started to just like isolate and really just reclaim myself, and decide to not live in the past anymore, because me pouring my attention and energy into the past was just reliving it. I wasn't creating any room for anything new. So I consciously decided that I'm done living in the past, and I'm going to focus all my attention and energy into healing myself and reclaiming back my power. So that's really where like things shifted for me. And yeah, I started to take my healing very serious. I started to journal a lot more. Like journaling really saved me, because just like writing things down and tracking your thoughts really like helps you, to kind of like see where your mind is at, where your internal state is at. So I would journal. I started doing yoga. I started to read more like self-development books and spiritual books. Iyanla Van Zandt, I will always be speaking about this woman, because that book, One Day My Soul, just opened up, really really shifted things for me. So yeah, that's like where my journey took me. And then I'm trying to think like what else was like a pivotal process for me. Anger. um where's where I talk about this. Yeah, there we go. Sacred anger. um because the thing is, like, oftentimes when a woman is sexually assaulted, it's like we're shunned, and that's why a lot of women don't want to speak about it. That's the reason why I didn't report it, because I knew that what's going to happen if I report getting raped by somebody in Grenada? The police ain't going to do shit. I'm just going to be another woman that was raped, added to the list of other women who were also raped. So that's a big reason why I didn't report it. And it's sad, because living in a country that you're constantly advocating for, and the system isn't there to even hold you, isn't there to protect you. The leaders aren't there to protect you. There's nothing to protect you. So that's why I didn't report it. Um, so yeah, sacred anger was a really, really important part of this process, because when you're angry, especially when you're defiled in this way, it really pushes you to transmute that energy into something. What are you transmuting it into? You know, are you transmuting it into just energy alone and just hatred for men? That's not enough. You need to transmute that and create something with it, create something that will help people with it, create something that is going to be sustainable for you. Are you going to use that energy, that anger, to heal yourself? Are you going to use that anger to tell your story? Are you going to use that anger to, help other women and, help them express themselves? Like, how are you using the anger? So for me, I would scream, like I would go out. I remember I went out with a few women. We went hiking at one point. This was in 2022 or something like that. And I remember all of us in the river, and I was just like, let's scream. And I started screaming, and it felt so good. And then they all started screaming, and I was just like, yes, like we need to just scream. Like, why are we just so like, so like gentle and so like, calm and chilled all the time, and we don't want to be seen as the angry black woman? No, black women have a lot of anger, and we need to show people that anger, because we've been through a lot as black people, and especially black women, and we're constantly going through it. So your anger is very sacred. Use it for good. Use it to fuel you. Sexual education, the overuse of alcohol, it's definitely all contributing to what's happening in Grenada. And unfortunately, this is Grenada's culture, and many other Caribbean islands as well, not just only Grenada. But we're speaking about Grenada because I live here. When it comes to older men, family members, men, it's always men. There's a real issue there, because community isn't community. Because if you're seeing this, is an example, actually, when I used to live in Belmont, there was a young girl, it was a family, a mom, and her two girls. One was like around 15 and the other one was like 4. Beautiful girls she had. And one of them, I would invite them up, because at that time I was also looking after my nephews. The OG followers, you guys know, but I was looking after my nephews at the time. And I would invite the girls up to the house so that they can play and just kind of like, chill with them for a bit, look them after for a bit, just so that they can get out of their environment. And at one point, the 15-year-old would start kind of, telling me things about, what happened to her. She mentioned that her brother raped her, and that, other men in Belmont also was assaulting her as well, sexually assaulting her as well. And this was actually after I was raped. So when she would tell me that, I would feel so fucking angry. And I would try to like tell her, like, okay, cool, like, like, do you have anybody that you can like tell? Do you have somewhere that you can go and live? And try to kind of like help her out of the situation. But her mom knew what was going on, and the reason why her mom wasn't helping her, because her mom troubled with health issues, mental health issues. And of course, when you have a parent figure in your life that isn't mentally sane, you're going to have to become the adult and take matters into your own hands. So I'm sure at points her mom wasn't, doing well, and she had to go and fend for herself so that she and her sister could eat. And there was a point in time when I heard somebody on the street, I can't remember who, was telling me, oh, it was somebody, a woman that used to live on the beach. She was telling me that, oh, she booming for money, just casually, she booming for money. Do you think this little girl wants to boom for money? Do you think she wants to be underneath big, stinking, dirty old fucking men? Do you think she wants that? She doesn't want that. But she's had to do that in order for her to eat, in order for her to have food, to go to school, money to go to school. And this is what men do. They take advantage of women who they know they need money or they need safety. This is the reason why it's so important for women to have our own. I know it's hard sometimes because the Caribbean requires you to be independent, especially if you don't have family to rely on. It really requires you to be independent. And it's like society, and especially our elders, have made it seem like, oh, you need a man to fend for you because you can't fend for yourself. You need a man for this, you need a man for that. You don't need no fucking man. You don't need a man to help you, because when a man helps you, he's not doing it out of the generosity of his big heart. No, he's doing it to get something in exchange. He's doing it for pussy. He's doing it to keep you connected to him, to his ego. He's doing it so that he can have a free housemaid, a housewife, and he ain't got to do nothing. He's doing it so he can get a free therapist. He's doing it so that he can have a trophy on his hands, so his friends can be like, yeah, bro, I see where you get it. Your thing looking nice. That's what they're doing it for. It's always surface level. It's always for their ego. It's always for them to say that they have this. So I tried to take matters into my own hand with this girl, and I called social services and reported it, and nothing came out of the matter. Nothing came out of the matter. Her mum eventually had to send her off to some family member in the country, and that was the last time I saw from her. So I don't know where she is right now. I pray and I hope that she's safe and she's thriving and she's doing well and she's actually having a good childhood. But I was really disappointed with child services, and it's like you have these buildings on the Carenage just taking up fucking space, because I'm not seeing nothing happening. I basically wasted credit calling them that day because nothing came out of the matter. They said to me, oh, other people reported the issue as well, but her mother, she wasn't okay with the situation, so they dropped it. So this is just an example, and there are many other girls in Grenada that are also going through this, have been going through this, even going through this in their house. So this is a big deal. This is a big deal. This is something that everybody in Grenada needs to speak about. And I'm not shocked that it's women who are mostly speaking out. I want to see more men speaking out, because you guys are the one that is the results of these situations. It's happening because of men. And I need to be seeing more men speaking out, especially men in power. Now, I want to touch on women because I know that we are all angry. Trust me, I'm feeling it. Like, I woke up this morning and it's like, even yesterday, before I saw the news of Trishana, like I was feeling light. I was feeling very light. And then I saw the news and I started to just feel really heavy, because I could just sense that things are shifting really big right now in Grenada. And then I went and I watched Aruna's live on the ladies' room. Yeah, the ladies' room. And It was actually a victim of sexual assault, and she was sharing her story, and I was crying. Like her story, and this is not me dismissing what happened to me, but I'm lucky because I'm alive today to tell my story. I'm I didn't go through such a traumatic experience because her her predator, he pulled, she said, a knife on him or a gun on her. And after he finished assaulting her in the bushes on the ground, he was like, I should kill you, you know, I should kill you, you know. And she literally was like saying that she was praying to God, and she was just like, oh, I won't tell anybody, you don't have to do that. And he got up and he took her number or something like that, and he left. That is fucking scary. That would take a long time to heal from. And I'm just glad that my assault wasn't to that extent. It still happened though. So I want to speak to women seriously about becoming our sisters' keepers, because we have always held the power, whether you know it or not. We have the power. We are the mothers, we birthed men, and we have to set the standards for our environment, firstly for ourselves and also for our environment, because it's a pattern. If we're constantly saying, especially women down here, and this is what Natural was saying in the previous episode, what's dating like abroad compared to Grenada. And Natural was saying, she asked the young woman, is that what you're just going to accept? Is that the standards you're just going to accept? And she replied saying, that's just how they are. And that is the reason why they are doing this to you guys. They're doing this to women because you're just allowing them to do it because that's just the way they are. You need to switch that story and start telling yourself a new story. Start saying to yourself, I am not going to tolerate that anymore. It's not about them, it's about you. If you start saying to yourself, I am not going to take this half-ass man talking to me like I'm a dog. I'm not going to allow him to just me on the street, or slims me on the street, or girlfriend me on the street. No, I'm not a cat. I'm not a dog. So I'm not going to look and brock up my neck just to see who calling me. Things like that. It starts from things like that, from you starting to raise your standards. Because once women raise their standards, men have to meet them there. They have to rise. Because why? They want us. It's not the other way around. I know. As much as some women try to make it seem like, you know, they want man, and, you know, man is an important thing. Deep down, you know you don't want to be around this man. You know you're just around him because you want his money, or he helping you pay rent, or whatever he's doing, whatever he's there for. You know you don't genuinely want to be around this man because he's not on your level, he's below you. So we as women have to really come back into our power and remember that we have always held the power. We've always held it. Always have, always will. Like it doesn't get more clear than that. So I want women to start looking out for each other and start being very ruthless about your protection. Because these men, they don't care. We don't have protectors. So you have to get very ruthless about protecting yourself. If you feel your intuition is very important as well, because I know for me, when your intuition is blocked, and your intuition is the gut feeling, okay? when that is blocked, and when you don't have a direct line to that, and you keep like disobeying it, let's say, I can't find the word, ignoring it. When you keep ignoring it, that's when you butt up to problems, and you butt up into situations that you don't want to end up in. So your intuition is so important. And women, we have to really protect each other and protect ourselves. If you feel like you shouldn't go around this man, don't go around him. If you feel like you shouldn't leave at night and go somewhere at night, do not do it. Because your protection, your safety it needs to be your top priority. It needs to be such a high priority that fear of missing out is not even bothering you. Peer pressure is not even bothering you. This man is not even bothering you, because you're not going to allow him to twist up and turn up your head, because that's what they want to do. Men are distractions. Men are just there to distract you and take you out of your alignment, and, take from you, take, because they understand the power that we hold as women. So you need to understand the power that you hold now and use it wisely. I want to end on the note with women by saying that once you start decentering yourself from men, once you start really turning your attention into yourself and into other women, things really shift for you, because you realize that man isn't God, and that men aren't on a pedestal. Okay? You start to put yourself on a pedestal. I mean, as you should. We create life. We create life, and you need to start putting more respect on yourself as a woman. Seriously. Like, it genuinely baffles me how some women carry themselves, and what they tolerate, and how they allow men to speak to them, and even the men that they go around. I am so particular about every and any man that comes around me. I don't play about keeping myself safe. That is such a big, big, big priority for me. And yeah, I just want us as women to stop putting men at the center of our lives, because I've seen it. Trust me. This me speaking right now is through my experiences with women in my life that I've seen dealing with men, friends that I've seen with men. This is me speaking from experience, and also my experiences as well. And there's always this pattern of, a woman placing so much value in her male relationship that she ends up losing herself and isolating herself from other women. And my thing as well is like, who do you run to when you want to vent? Who do you run to when you want to go out and blow off steam? You run to your women. You don't go to the man. So why aren't you prioritizing female friendships more? Why are men on a pedestal in your life? So the sentiment, especially right now in Grenada, like, I would honestly challenge women right now in Grenada to start pulling back. Start pulling back your energy. And if we did this collectively for a prolonged period of time, I'm not saying just do this for a week, 2 weeks. I'm saying 3 months, 4 months. Really start pulling back your energy from men and pour that into you. Pour that into building more awareness around sexual assaults. create more women's circles around sexual assault, create a community space for survivors to come. Like if we pour up energy and attention into building something like that, multiple things like that, you would see how Grenada would shift. I swear to God. So this is my challenge to you women. Of course, I've touched on the women and I'm not going to exclude the men because you guys are the problem. And I I haven't been seeing enough men speak about this, about what's been going on. Men have been very, very quiet, and this is the reason why these assaults and these murders have been happening, because unfortunately our black men are weak. I'm gonna let that sink in. We as black women have been through so much, and we continue to go through so much. But the difference between slavery and now is that, I mean, yes, slavery is still here in ways, but more than anything, it's our black brothers, our supposed black kings, that are now the enslavers, that are now the oppressors. And men on a whole are an issue. We know this. But black men, there's a real issue with black men. And, you know, a lot of people are always like, you know, black men need the support, and black men need this, and black men need that. Stop being weak. Who are our protectors? You're supposed to be our protectors. Black men are supposed to protect black women, your queens. But now our black men are literally the one that's killing and slaughtering us and raping us. And then you wonder why black women go back to the original enslaver, the white man. Because even though white people, they know what they've done to us, and you know, they know what their lineage was about and their history was about, even though they know about it, they still respect black women. They love black women because they understand that they inflicted so much pain upon us, that through honoring us and through worshiping us, they are, you know, I guess, making up. I mean, you could never make up for slavery, but that's their way of showing us that, or their black women, their black wives or whatever, that they are honoring us and they see us for the powerful queens that we are. That is the reason why a lot of black women, they go into interracial relationships, because they're not being worshipped, they're not being protected by their own people. So I need men in Grenada. This is a calling out. I need men in Grenada to start being your brother's keepers as well, to start holding your friends accountable. You're seeing your man cheat on a woman? Pull him up. Especially if, let's say, you've been together for 5 years with your woman. You're seeing your friend beating his woman. You're just gonna stand back and just allow it to beat your woman? Start pulling your male friends up, because it starts from at home. It starts from in the rum shop, when you're speaking about women like we's objects and you know, talking about digging shit out and all these things. Fucking disgusting. It starts from there. Because I'm telling you guys, the more you guys continue to act the way that you guys act, the more you're not going to have access to us women. And it's going to happen. So if you guys don't pull up and pattern up and start to change and become better human beings, things are just going to get worse for you guys. And you're just not going to have access to us because, to be honest, we don't need to have sex. Women can go a very long time without having sex. Men, you guys need it. You guys need it. We don't. So this is a calling out to you men to start speaking out more, start protecting women more, especially considering that you wouldn't be here without us. I finally come to the end of this lengthy conversation and I feel good. I feel very light. I'm really happy that I was able to finally, after 4 years, tell my story. It really took a while to get here, I'm not gonna lie. It took a while to really come back to myself and, you know, be in this state that I'm in. But I chose love. I chose love for myself. I chose love for my inner child. And I chose love for my innocence because I'm just not going to allow a man to defile me in that way and leave me in a state that I wasn't in a state that wasn't even mine to hold, you know? So I pushed through and I fought for myself because I knew that if I stayed in that darkness, the Ninki that you're seeing today wouldn't exist. I wouldn't have been able to sit here so confidently and share my story with you guys. I wouldn't have been able to. So shame is something that was just created so that the divine goddess within wouldn't shine. And I don't subscribe to shame. Shame is really and truly something meant to just hold you back from speaking your truth. So don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed of being sexually assaulted. Get angry. Get angry and do something with it. Don't kill the man. I ain't saying that because I want you to be free. But use that anger to build something strong. Yeah. So my mission this year and beyond is to help women return back to their power. For them to reclaim their power. And in doing so, I help you to transmute that anger and turn it into something good. That is what my mission is this year and beyond. I'm here to help women through my experiences, and I'm so open to having conversations with other women who have also been assaulted as well, and you know, just want to share their story with me. Like, I'm so open. So let's connect. You can message me on Instagram. My name is at Ninky Punch. And please, like, let's have a conversation in the chat below. I would love to hear from you guys. And that is it from me. I am sending so much love and so much warmth and so much strength to the people of Grenada. Things are going to change, whether people like it or not. And I just want you guys to have courage. This is not going to be an easy fight, but we can do it with courage. So that's it from me. Take care. Bye. And I know for you, Kyle, you probably thought that this wouldn't have come out and this would have stayed buried for however long you wanted it to stay buried, but the truth always comes out, and you know what you did to me, and now everybody else does too.